Today, we are going to begin topic 10 and learn how to describe a fraction using a unit fraction. Courtney ran 3/4 of the way to school. Describe 3/4 using unit fractions. So if we look over here where I just circled, we have one whole, which is in the red rectangle, and then we have in the yellow rectangles, we have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. So therefore, if we multiply 3 times 1/4, because there's 3 of them, there's 1, 2, 3, we're going to end up with 3/4. Okay, let's look down at B. When a whole number is divided into 4 equal parts, each part is described as 1/4. 3 of those parts are described as 3/4. So we have 3/4 equals 3 times 1/4, or 3 1/4 parts. If we look at C, 3 1/4 parts makes 3/4. So we have 3 times 1/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. We have 3 times 1 over 4, which is going to equal 3/4. So 3/4 is a multiple of 1/4. This may sound confusing because there's a lot of steps to it, but all you have to do is take whatever fraction it is. So for example, if it's 3/4, then it would be 3 of them, and you would just multiply or add 1/4 3 times. We will practice some more. Let's look at the convince me. What number is 5/8? And 5/8 tells you how many equal parts are in a whole. What number tells you how many equal parts are described? How many 1/8 parts are in 5/8? Well, if we look at the number 5/8, our denominator, or our bottom number, will tell us how many are in the whole. So if we had 8/8, that would be 1 whole. This tells me, the top number tells me that there's 5 of them. So I'm going to have 5 1/8. So 5/8 equals 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 5 times. Another way you could do this problem is we can multiply 5 times 1/8. Well, we know that 5 is a whole number, so that would be the same as 5 over 1, and you would just multiply across. You don't have to change the denominators. So 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 times 8 is 8. So here we have 5/8. Let's take a look at another example on the top of page 545. We need to describe 5/4 as a multiple of unit fractions. 5/4 is 5 1/4 parts. So if we look over here, we have our whole. 4/4 would be a whole, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus we have a 5th one. So if we look to the right, we have 5, since there's 5 of them, times 1/4, which would be the same as 1/4 5 times. So 5 times 1 over 4 is just going to equal 5/4. Okay, so here we need to draw a picture to explain why 3/5 equals 3 times 1/5. So if we're going to do that, just pick a color over here. We're going to have our whole. So this is going to be our whole. That's going to be 1 whole. Since my denominator is 5, I'm going to write the fraction on the side. We need 3/5, which is going to equal 3 times 1/5. So my whole would be 5, and underneath it, I'm going to just label them. I have to divide this into 5 separate parts. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Each part is going to be 1/5. So we've got 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. So since we have 3 of them, we've got 3 of them right here, we have 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, which is going to equal 3/5. All right, number 2. Write a multiplication equation to show each part of the following story. Mark's family ate 7/4 chicken pot pies for dinner. There are 7 people in Mark's family. Each family member ate 1/4 of the pie. Okay, so we have 1/4 times 7 is going to equal 7/4. Because we have 7 people, that's where I got the 7 from, and it says each family member ate 1/4. So we multiply it by a 4th. So I know that 1/4 times 7 is just going to be 7/4. All right, let's look at number 3. So for number 3, 2/3 equals 2 times a third. Number 4, 5/6 equals 5 times, use your denominator, 1/6. We have to write each fraction as a multiple of a unit fraction. Use fraction strips or number lines to help. Sorry, I did the first 2 before I read that out loud to you. Okay, so 4/2. Take your denominator, which is 2, and make it a unit fraction, which would be a 1 on top, and then multiply it by the top number. That's all you have to do. So we have 1/2 times 4. For 6/5, we're going to take our denominator, which is 5, put a 1 on top of it, then we're going to multiply it by our top number. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try to do numbers 7 through 18. When you are done, you're going to come see me.